He attempted to argue. "Pero, señor." But his superior's response was a brusque, "Esa una orden. Vamos." With an apologetic look at Scouse, the junior customs man turned and walked away. The officer at once reached for the backpack, opened it, and held up the $500. "What is this, señor? You realize that attempting to bribe a customs officer is a serious offense." "It's not a bribe, officer," Scouse said, thinking fast, and still confident that he could black his way out of any awkward situation. "It's just some cash I'd left in there. I don't like to keep all my money in my wallet in case I get mugged." The officer looked past Scouse and beckoned over 2 armed police lounging on the other side of the customs hall. They walked over and stood flanking Scouse while the officer examined the flight case. "This is locked," he said. "The key, señor, if you please." Scouse hesitated, but then handed it over, still certain that, at worst, a phone call to the office would make the problem go away. The officer opened the case. It was full of plastic packs of US banknotes. "How much is here, señor?" 50,000 American dollars. "I see. Come with me, please, señor." He nodded to the 2 policemen who took Scouse's arms and frog-marched him away from the table towards a doorway set in the wall behind it. He was marched down some steps and along a neon-lit corridor running under the floor of the terminal and taken into a windowless interview room. There was a transparent-sided toilet, where drug mules would eventually have to deposit any packages they were carrying internally, once nature, or a laxative, had taken its course. The stench in the room suggested that it had seen recent use for that purpose. There was also a steel table, a large wooden packing crate that stood empty, its lid open and propped against the wall, and 2 metal chairs. There was a sick feeling in Scouse's guts as he saw that the chairs were fitted with restraining straps and bolted to the floor. He was hustled into one of them and held there while the straps were tightened around his arms. The police then searched him, handing his passport and wallet to the senior customs officer, who had settled himself on a much more comfortable leather-seated desk chair facing him. "We can straighten all this out immediately," Scouse said. "It's all perfectly legitimate. I'm employed as a courier by a company called Risk Reduction, Inc., specializing in kidnap and ransom negotiations. The money is a payment for the release of one of our clients, currently being held by criminals here in Bolivia. If you call the Risk Reduction, Inc. office in Bogotá, the number is on the business cards in my wallet. They will be able to straighten this out right away." The customs officer opened the wallet, took out one of the business cards and glanced at it, then tore it into quarters and tossed it into a waste bin. "Trafficking undeclared cash, bribery and corruption, señor. These are very serious crimes, and no reputable company would be a party to them. So either your company is not a reputable one, or they have no knowledge of what you are doing. And in either case, I see no need to speak to them. If you won't speak to my company, then will you at least notify the British consul that I am being held here?" The officer remained impassive and unmoving, other than to give a slow shake of his head. "I know my rights," Scouse said, trying to keep his fear from showing in his voice. "I demand to speak to the British consul or a lawyer." "You are not in a position to make any demands, señor. You have committed serious crimes, and there are consequences of such things." He glanced at one of the policemen and said, "Sabes qué hacer. You know what to do." He handed the $500 from Scouse's backpack to the policeman, who pocketed it at once, while the customs officer stood up, picked up the flight case and walked towards the door. "Don't worry, señor," he said over his shoulder. "I'll see that this reaches the right people." He laughed, and a moment later the door clicked shut behind him. Scouse watched with mounting fear.